What if breaking bread together could bridge the deepest divides? Imagine a table where people of different faiths, cultures, and backgrounds sit side by side, sharing not just food, but stories, laughter, and understanding. Could such a simple act, a communal breaking of the fast during Ramadan, hold the power to unite a fractured community? Today we're diving into a heartwarming story of togetherness, where the spirit of Ramadan becomes a beacon of peace and unity in a diverse town. In a small, bustling town nestled between rolling hills and a winding river, diversity is both a blessing and a challenge. The town is home to people of various faiths: Muslims, Christians, Hindus, and others, each with their own traditions and ways of life. While the town prides itself on its multicultural fabric, there are moments when differences create invisible walls, separating neighbors who live just doors apart. Ramadan, the holy month of fasting for Muslims, has always been a time of reflection, prayer, and community. But this year, something extraordinary is about to happen. A young Muslim man named Farris has an idea, a simple yet radical one. What if the town's Muslims invited their non-Muslim neighbors to join them in breaking the fast? What if the iftar table became a space not just for food, but for dialogue, understanding, and friendship? This is the story of how one iftar event transformed a community, proving that the beauty of togetherness can indeed be a bridge to peace. Farris, a 28-year-old community organizer, had always been passionate about bringing people together. Growing up in a multicultural town, he had seen both the beauty of diversity and the tensions it could create. As Ramadan approached, he felt a stirring in his heart. Ramadan is about more than just fasting, he thought. It's about empathy, generosity, and connection. What if we could share that with everyone? One evening, over a cup of tea with his friend Aisha, Farris shared his idea. What if we hosted a community iftar, not just for Muslims, but for everyone? Christians, Hindus, atheists, everyone. We could break bread together, share stories, and maybe even break down some barriers. Aisha's eyes lit up. "I love it," she said. "But do you think people will come? And what about those who might not understand what Ramadan is about?" Farris smiled. "That's the point. This isn't just about food. It's about creating a space where we can learn from each other." The road to organizing the event was not without its hurdles. Farris and Aisha began by reaching out to local mosques and community leaders. While many were supportive, others were hesitant. "What if people feel uncomfortable?" asked one imam. "What if it turns into a debate about religion?" Farris understood their concerns. "We're not here to debate," he explained. "We're here to share, to show that Ramadan is about more than just fasting. It's about compassion, patience, and gratitude. If we can share that with our neighbors, isn't that worth it?" Meanwhile, Farris and Aisha also faced skepticism from some non-Muslim residents. Clara, a local social activist, was one of the first to voice her doubts. "I'm not sure I belong at an iftar," she admitted. "I don't want to intrude on something so personal." Farris reassured her. "You're not intruding. You're being invited. This is about building bridges, not walls." The day of the iftar arrived, and the community hall was transformed. Long tables were set up, adorned with colorful tablecloths and centerpieces. The air was filled with the aroma of biryani, lentil soup, and freshly baked bread. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the hall began to fill with people: Muslims in traditional attire, Christians in casual wear, Hindus in vibrant saris, and others from all walks of life. Farris stood at the entrance, greeting each guest with a warm smile. The evening began with a short introduction by Ustad Salman, a local scholar. "Ramadan is a time of reflection and gratitude," he explained. "It's a time to remember those less fortunate and to strengthen our bonds with one another. Tonight, we're not just breaking bread, we're breaking barriers." As the call to prayer echoed through the hall, Muslims broke their fast with dates and water, while non-Muslim guests observed respectfully. Then, the meal began. Plates were passed, stories were shared, and laughter filled the room. Clara, sitting next to Aisha, tried the lentil soup for the first time. "This is amazing," she said. "I've never had anything like it." Aisha smiled. "It's a traditional dish for iftar. It's light but nourishing, perfect after a day of fasting." Across the table, Mr. Herman, a retired teacher, struck up a conversation with Ahmad, a young Muslim man. "I've always wondered," Mr. Herman said, "how do you manage to fast for so many hours? Don't you get tired?" Ahmad chuckled. "It's not easy, but it's worth it. Fasting teaches us patience and gratitude, And when you break your fast with others, like we're doing tonight, it feels even more special. As the meal continued, the conversations grew deeper. Clara shared her experiences as a social activist, working to combat poverty in the town. Aisha talked about her work at the local mosque, organizing food drives and educational programs. Kevin, a young man who had come out of curiosity, found himself captivated by the stories. "I never realized how much we have in common," he said. "We all want the same things: peace, understanding, and a better future for our kids." Farris, watching the scene unfold, felt a surge of hope. This was more than just an iftar. It was a moment of connection, a reminder that despite our differences, we are all human. The success of the community iftar didn't end that night. In the weeks that followed, the town saw a wave of new initiatives aimed at fostering unity. An interfaith book club was formed, where people of different faiths could discuss shared values. A joint charity drive collected food and clothing for the town's homeless population. Even the local schools got involved, organizing cultural exchange programs where students could learn about each other's traditions. The iftar had sparked a movement, proving that small acts of kindness and understanding could have a profound impact. Farris's leadership was not without its critics. Some accused him of diluting the essence of Ramadan by inviting non-Muslims to the iftar. Others questioned whether such events could truly bring about lasting change. But Farris remained steadfast. "Ramadan is about more than just fasting," he said. "It's about compassion, generosity, and unity. If we can share that with others, isn't that what Ramadan is all about?" His vision and determination inspired many, earning him the respect of both Muslims and non-Muslims alike. Farris became a symbol of hope, a reminder that true leadership is about bringing people together, not driving them apart. The story of the community iftar is a testament to the power of togetherness. It shows that even in a world often divided by differences, there is always a way to build bridges of understanding and friendship. But this story doesn't end with a single event. It's a spark that ignites a larger movement, a ripple effect that spreads far beyond the walls of the community hall. Let's explore how this simple act of breaking bread together transformed not just a town, but the hearts and minds of everyone involved. The success of the community iftar didn't just end with a warm evening of shared meals and stories. It planted seeds of change that began to grow in unexpected ways. In the weeks and months that followed, the town saw a wave of new initiatives aimed at fostering unity and understanding. One of the first outcomes was the formation of an interfaith council, led by Farris, Clara, and other community leaders. This council became a platform for open dialogue, where people of different faiths could come together to discuss shared values, address misunderstandings, and collaborate on projects that benefited the entire town. One such project was a joint charity drive. Inspired by the spirit of Ramadan, the Interfaith Council organized a food and clothing drive for the town's homeless population. Muslims, Christians, Hindus, and others worked side by side, packing boxes, distributing meals, and offering support to those in need. It was a powerful reminder that compassion knows no religious boundaries. The younger generation in particular was deeply inspired by the community iftar. High school students, who had attended the event with their families, began organizing their own initiatives to promote unity. One group of students started a cultural exchange program at their school, where they shared stories, music, and food from their respective traditions. Aisha, who had been instrumental in organizing the iftar, became a mentor to these young leaders. "It's amazing to see how much they've taken this idea and run with it," she said. "They're proving that the future of our town and our world is in good hands." One of these students, a 16-year-old named Zara, shared her thoughts. "Before the iftar, I didn't really know much about my neighbors who weren't Muslim, but now I feel like we're all part of one big family. It's made me realize that we have so much more in common than what divides us." While the community iftar was a resounding success, it wasn't without its challenges. Some residents remained skeptical, questioning whether such events could truly bring about lasting change. Others worried that the initial enthusiasm would fade, leaving the town no better off than before. Farris and his team were well aware of these concerns. "Change doesn't happen overnight," he said. "It takes time, effort, and a lot of patience. But if we keep working together, I believe we can create a town where everyone feels valued and respected." To address these challenges, the Interfaith Council began hosting regular events, potlucks, workshops, and even sports tournaments, that brought people together in fun and meaningful ways. These gatherings became a cornerstone of the town's social fabric, ensuring that the spirit of togetherness continued to thrive. The story of the community iftar didn't stay within the town's borders. News of the event spread, inspiring other communities to organize similar initiatives. Farris and Clara were invited to speak at conferences and workshops, where they shared their experiences and encouraged others to take the first step toward building bridges in their own neighborhoods. One such event was a global interfaith summit, where leaders from around the world gathered to discuss ways to promote peace and understanding. Farris's story was highlighted as a shining example of how small, local actions can have a global impact. "What we did in our town wasn't revolutionary," Farris said during his speech. "It was simple, just people coming together to share a meal and some stories. But sometimes that's all it takes to change the world." Years later, the community iftar is still remembered as a turning point in the town's history. It's celebrated annually, not just as a religious event, but as a symbol of unity and hope. The Interfaith Council continues to thrive, and the town has become a model for other communities striving to build bridges across divides. For Farris, the iftar was more than just an event. It was a reminder of the power of faith, compassion, and human connection. "Ramadan taught me that fasting isn't just about abstaining from food," he said. "It's about opening your heart to others, about finding common ground in a world that often feels divided. And if we can do that, even for one night, then we've already made a difference." But Farris's journey didn't stop there. The success of the community iftar became a catalyst for deeper reflection and action, not just for him, but for everyone who had been part of that transformative evening. It sparked a movement that extended far beyond the town, touching lives and inspiring change in ways no one could have anticipated. For Farris, the iftar was a turning point in his own life. It reinforced his belief in the power of grassroots initiatives and the importance of leading by example. He began to see himself not just as a community organizer, but as a bridge builder, someone who could bring people together, even in the face of skepticism and resistance. This newfound sense of purpose led Farris to pursue further studies in interfaith dialogue and conflict resolution. He traveled to different parts of the country, sharing his story and learning from others who were working to build bridges in their own communities. "Everywhere I go, I see the same thing," Farris said. "People want to connect. They want to understand each other. They just need a space to do it and someone to take the first step." The impact of the community iftar extended far beyond the town's borders. News of the event spread through social media, local news outlets, and word of mouth, inspiring other communities to organize similar gatherings. In a neighboring city, a group of young professionals organized an interfaith iftar, inviting people from different backgrounds to share a meal and discuss ways to promote unity. In another town, a local church partnered with a mosque to host a joint charity event during Ramadan, providing meals and supplies to families in need. Even internationally, the story resonated. A non-profit organization in Europe reached out to Farris, asking him to share his experience at a global conference on peace building. His speech, titled "Breaking Bread, Building Bridges," was met with a standing ovation and sparked conversations about how small local actions can have a global impact. The community iftar also highlighted the role of faith in fostering understanding and compassion. For many participants, the event was a reminder that the values of Ramadan, empathy, generosity, and self-discipline, are universal. Clara, the social activist who had initially been hesitant to attend, later reflected on how the iftar changed her perspective. "I used to think of religion as something that divided people," she said, "but that night showed me that faith can also be a source of connection. It's not about the differences in our beliefs, it's about the values we share." This realization led Clara to start a new initiative called Faith in Action, which brought together people of different faiths to work on community service projects. From cleaning up local parks to organizing blood drives, the group became a powerful force for good in the town. While the community iftar was a resounding success, it wasn't without its challenges. Maintaining the momentum of unity and collaboration required ongoing effort and commitment. One of the biggest challenges was addressing lingering prejudices and misconceptions. Despite the progress made, some residents still harbored doubts about the intentions of their neighbors. To tackle this, the Interfaith Council organized workshops on cultural sensitivity and conflict resolution, helping people navigate difficult conversations and build trust. Another challenge was ensuring that the younger generation remained engaged. To address this, Farris and his team launched a youth leadership program, empowering young people to take the lead in organizing interfaith events and initiatives. Years later, the community iftar is still remembered as a defining moment in the town's history. It's celebrated annually, not just as a religious event, but as a symbol of unity and hope. The Interfaith Council continues to thrive, and the town has become a model for other communities striving to build bridges across divides. For Farris, the iftar was more than just an event. It was a reminder of the power of faith, compassion, and human connection. Ramadan taught me that fasting isn't just about abstaining from food, he said. It's about opening your heart to others, about finding common ground in a world that often feels divided. And if we can do that, even for one night, then we've already made a difference. The story of the community iftar is a testament to the power of togetherness. It shows that even in a world often divided by differences, there is always a way to build bridges of understanding and friendship. With that said, thanks for watching. And until next time, remember, the true beauty of faith lies not in its rituals, but in its ability to bring people together. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.